The following is a special presentation of Channel 4 News.
We're triggering a forewarned weather alert day.
It was like a lake in my front yard.
A 4-1 live Doppler still shows very hefty storms.
That's where we most likely could be seeing a tornado at this point.
Just look at this place. We've got trees down everywhere.
All the power is out back there.
Good Lord just didn't call me, is all I know.
Live with a forewarned weather alert. This is Channel 4 News at 5.
I've lived here all my life, and everything now looks like a disaster.
Powerful storms take a deadly toll in Middle Tennessee.
I felt stuff just hitting me on the back and glasses flying everywhere.
Tonight, crews are still picking through the rubble that stretches for miles. One of the spots hardest hit, an elementary school where people had taken shelter just minutes before.
The school is basically going to be uninhabitable.
Now, more severe weather could be heading that way.
We have a lot to get to, including the threat of even more severe weather on the way.
The damage out here is just tremendous. I'm going to walk you through it. This is Price Lane in Fayetteville, and the storm came right down this street. You can see this is about a half mile of damage. Trees blown over, snapped in half, uprooted, and homes completely leveled. We've counted 3 homes on this lot that are just done for, roofs ripped off, and I want to show you this over here. This is a foundation of a home. The storm lifted this house off the ground and then threw it across the street. So take a look at this. The home basically exploded when it landed over here in the neighbor's front yard.
Channel 4's Ian Wright, who's been in Lincoln County since before dawn. And Ian, a long day certainly for you guys, but a longer night for those who've been affected.
That's right, Tom, and these folks who've been affected are not slowing down. In fact, they're ramping things up. They're trying to get as much done over the next couple of hours before the sun goes down as they possibly can. A number of roofs were ripped off during last night's tornado. This one, just look at this. It's an example of one of those roofs ripped off, kind of crumpled up underneath a power pole. You're going to see this over and over as you drive down the streets through Fayetteville. And for the school that's behind me, the entire roof was ripped right off it.
I sit right there by the door. Just run that seat right up in there.
Nolan Palladino spent years at this school. His mom teaches just down the hall. He says this week was supposed to be about celebrating.
We're about to have our 8th grade night, and we don't have a place to do 8th grade night this week because it's supposed to be in the gym.
Students were also supposed to spend the next few days taking the TCAP tests, not surveying the damage. If you step out back behind the school, the devastation continues for several hundred feet. All kinds of debris out back here, and there's this concrete slab that was flipped over. This mower right here used to sit on top of it.
Live with breaking news. This is Channel 4 News at 6.
There has been a plane crash outside the YMCA in Bellevue. 4 people on board and no survivors. Good evening and welcome to Channel 4 News at 6. The word came just about 30 minutes ago that this was a deadly crash.
Yeah, that plane is a Gulfstream 690C. Now, this is a picture of the actual plane. It went down in the back parking lot of the Y just after 5 o'clock. Everyone who was inside that building, we understand, got out safely.
A command center of sorts has been set up across the street at the nearby Kroger store. Let's check in with Channel 4's Nancy Amons. What's happening there, Nancy?
We are right at the entrance to the Y. Right behind me here is the driveway. As you can see, it is a very busy scene.
Now, we just received word from Metro Police that there were no survivors, and the 4 people aboard that plane were all members of the same family. Right now, Metro Police is protecting this crash site for investigators. The plane went down in a clearing between the YMCA and a housing development. Avoiding both may have been the last act of the pilot of the Gulfstream before it crashed.
The pilot may have made every effort to avoid that. Pilots are trained, and I'm not a pilot, but I've heard them through the years, and we've trained to that. He may have made every effort to miss that building.
We have learned from the CEO here that this YMCA will be closed tomorrow, and it could be closed for a couple more days. At the time of the crash, there were some 300 people inside, and tonight we spoke to some of them. Brenda McKee had just finished the dishes this evening when she heard a loud noise.
It was like a freight train.
McKee looked out her kitchen window. In her sight, a plane headed for the ground.
When it hit so hard, this whole back wall shook.
This is not Ferguson, Missouri. It is right here in downtown Nashville. Demonstrators showing their disapproval of the grand jury decision that has the nation on edge.
Let's get right to Channel 4's Julia Buck. She's downtown. Julia, where exactly are you and what have you seen tonight?
All right, Tom, we just talked about the interstate being shut down. Well, the protesters are back here. We are on I-24. And eastbound and westbound shut down again. You can see them laying down right here. They're laying down in solidarity of Michael Brown. They've been doing this in different stops along the way, moving throughout the city for about the last 3 hours. And when they lay down for 4 minutes. I want you to take a look at the interstate over here. Come this way. I want you to take a look and see the backup. You can see all the trucks that are completely backed up on that direction. And on the other side, too, we've got traffic stopped. These are just some of the signs that we've seen. On the edge of all these demonstrators, though, notice the police officers. Earlier, I spoke to one gentleman who said it was really cool that a police officer gave him a water as he's been walking around for some 3 hours now.
And Nashville isn't the only city seeing protests and marches. As you can see, they are taking place all across the country: Richmond, Virginia, New York City, and Washington, D.C. But this is where it all began, Ferguson, Missouri, a live shot now you're looking at. Channel 4 photojournalist Jason Maxwell has been up there for the past several days. Jason joins us by telephone.
We've been out all day in Ferguson, and you can still see the smoke billowing from the buildings that were set on fires, the car lots, the cars that were set on fire. It's just been an eerie feeling up here because the key is this. You never know when it's going to pop off again.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is mourning the loss of one of their own tonight. 25-year-old officer Michael Petrina was killed along the interstate. Good evening and welcome to Channel 4 News at 6. Thanks for joining us tonight. Dozens of emergency responders rushed to the scene of this crash right along I-65 southbound to save the life of a man who was, of course, dedicated to saving the lives of others, Officer Michael Petrina. Tonight, we have team coverage on this tragic loss. We have Forrest Sanders, Carly Gordon, Haley Mason. Let's start with Forrest. And Forrest, you have details surrounding this crash.
I-65 was blocked off for a large part of the day, but according to the officers who are working the scene, this day has left them shaken.
This is the most serious of crashes. A Nashville police officer in service to this city has been killed. This is just a very sad day for the Nashville Police Department.
I-65 north near Old Hickory Boulevard is surrounded in cones of flashing lights. But according to Metro Police Chief Steve Anderson, this is an unbelievably hard scene to work for the officers here.
They spend more time with each other than they do their families.
All month long, Channel 4 News at 6 is working for you.
Come on out here and answer my questions.
Tracking your tax dollars.
This is not a reality TV show.
Asking the tough questions.
You sent a graphic sex video to a phone number that you didn't know. Didn't you think that this would come back to haunt you?
Holding the powerful accountable.
The thing that's frustrating about it is that the law's not going to do anything.
Getting results.
So grateful to the I-team for looking into this.
Channel 4 News, working for you.
Tonight, the Channel 4 I-team investigates crime in punishment.
How could this happen?
Reporting live once again from the field of penitentiary.
What we exposed happening in Tennessee prisons.
You see the stripes, you know where the we at.
Prompted criminal investigations.
I have a lot to lose to do something like this.
You take a risk like I do. Don't be on CNN in the morning, man.
And has lawmakers asking serious questions.
Somebody's head needs roll up. Somebody needs to lose their job over there.
I believe I'm smoking better than everybody.
A state agency under fire.
state prison officials are hiding information from the public.
I think we have our prison system under control.
And former top officials saying they had to come forward with what they know.
Do you think we, as the general public, are being told the truth about what's happening in the prisons in this state?
Absolutely not.
Good evening. It is a system designed to punish the worst offenders in the state. And for an entire year, the Channel 4i team has been investigating what's really happening behind bars in Tennessee prisons. And what we uncovered led to disciplinary actions on more than 70 inmates, a TBI investigation, a hearing before lawmakers, and questions if a state agency is deleting records of violence inside Tennessee prisons. And it all started with a tip from a crime victim asking, how is it possible that convicted criminals are allowed to do this?
Prison's rough, right? You're in a cell all day, the food isn't good, little to no communication with the outside, right?
I believe I'm smoking better than everybody.
Well, welcome to prison life in the social media age. Drugs, smokes, mounds of snacks, cash, getting tattoos, the freedom to make music, even set things on fire, using forbidden technology to show it all off on Facebook.
This is the penitentiary, you hear me? Back there relaxing, you know what I'm talking about?
Relaxing, eating pizza, getting high, while you're paying for them to be here.
Anybody who sees those videos, they're going to be sickened by it, they're going to be angered by it.
And we're not talking about just a few inmates who figured out how to get on Facebook. Not 10, not 20, not 50. A Channel 4i team investigation found more than 100 inmates in Tennessee prisons with Facebook pages, their profile pictures taken inside their cells, pages the inmates are operating from behind bars to communicate with family, friends, fellow gang members, even with inmates in other prisons.
I guarantee you that when the commissioner sees this, there's going to be a reckoning, and there should be.
You know, these are murderers, rapists, and other convicted criminals, and they appear to be having a pretty good time in prison.
And I don't like it, but it's a problem that we face today, and it's something that we work hard on every day.
How can a guy set a shirt on fire without your correctional officers knowing?
You have one officer and 128 inmates in a prototypical housing unit. It appears that they have took something and covered up the door.
Parker looked at every photo and every video we found.
This has to be embarrassing for you.
It's something I don't like, obviously.
As soon as the Channel 4i team brought our findings to the state, they immediately launched investigations in 14 prisons across the state, finding 53 cell phones, drugs, and a deadly weapon. Disciplinary actions were taken on 70 inmates for having Facebook pages, and their Facebook pages shut down. Both Marino and White's pages were taken down.
Diamonds. That one word got your attention. They're a girl's best friend, a guy's biggest splurge, the timeless symbol of priceless love. But what if you were told the diamond you dreamed of and saved for wasn't nearly as valuable as you were led to believe? Tonight, the Channel 4i team goes undercover in perhaps the best-known jewelry store in the city.
The spring savings continue at Genesis Diamonds.
In the diamond game, they're a major player. Just look and listen.
Don't miss incredible spring savings exclusively at Nashville's own Genesis Diamonds.
Voted best place to buy an engagement ring, official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans. But when it comes to selling diamonds, some say Genesis is scoring with a trick play.
When somebody is deliberately offering one thing and then giving them another, I just don't think it's fair, it's not right.
To understand what's happening, you'll need a quick lesson in how diamonds are evaluated and who does it. It's a bit of an alphabet soup. The oldest laboratory, the one that invented letter grades for diamonds, is the Gemological Institute of America, or GIA. It's got competition from a bunch of other diamond labs, most notably EGL. That stands for European Gemological Laboratory, even though it's located here in the United States. But here's where it begins to get sticky. There is more than one EGL lab. EGL International may have the same initials, but experts say it has very different diamond standards, lower standards. Genesis says fewer than 25% of the thousands of diamonds it sells are graded by that lab. But we've been told by others that most of the stones sold by Genesis at what it calls the guaranteed best prices in America are diamonds certified by EGL International. But customers may not know that difference. Back at Genesis, at least one dissatisfied consumer was told there was only one difference separating GIA stones from EGL International: the price.
If this stone would have been graded by the GIA, instead of $3,600, we would have paid $5,500.
If it was a GIA
If
certified.
it was a GIA
Okay.
certified. Okay.
They say you're selling things that, apples that are really lemons.
Who are the complaints coming from? The complaints coming from the competitors.
4 months after our investigation, the biggest name in diamonds, Rappaport, pulled all EGL International diamonds off its sales exchange, citing our reporting as a catalyst.
That was a big deal. Everybody that I knew of in the jewelry business was talking about it, and talking about it a lot.
Last week, the biggest development yet. After 40 years, EGL International Laboratories announced it was ceasing operations, shutting down.
It's huge, and that's, without exaggeration, $1 billion effect on the diamond industry.
Brian Manukian is an attorney who sued Genesis on behalf of several customers.
Before your reports, this was an open secret in the jewelry industry, but this wasn't something that your average consumer would know about. Your reports exposed it, put it out in the open, and literally garnered front page attention from New York to the largest newspapers in Jerusalem.
Tonight, a Channel 4 I-Team investigation, keeping the promise.
We have a solemn promise.
There's thousands and thousands of veterans out there that they've done like this.
To bring them back and to not fulfill our promise back to them is a travesty.
I definitely do believe they should have done more.
He told me that it was over.
Yeah, Sean. Are we doing enough to care for our fighting men and women?
We've not just let them down, we've let them die. And somebody ought to be held accountable for it.
Good evening and welcome to a special presentation by the Channel 4 I-Team. About 1 year ago, the I-Team set out to explore one big question. Are we as a nation keeping the promise to the people who risked their lives for us? Kenneth Moore's past is threatening his future. While he suffers from the effects of Agent Orange,
It's been on 40-something years.
the worst pain, he says, didn't come from war.
The government still says, prove it, prove it.
Moore is among the veterans in Tennessee stuck in a government waiting game. He's been waiting more than 2 years and has been denied twice for disability benefits.
And I'm so dark.
And when you hear what he's gone through to try to get his claim resolved, you'll understand why the tears come so easily.
I'm so sorry.
Moore was a 19-year-old stationed in Thailand during the Vietnam War and was sent several times to Vietnam for radio work. He remembers seeing and feeling the strange herbicide being sprayed on the trees.
When it was on your clothes and stuff, it was like a powder.
And when he returned to the States, the memories of Vietnam remained.
I have to take medication because of the nightmares. Even today, I still take medication for the nightmares.
After he started having heart and lung problems, he filled out a disability claim with the VA. His discharge papers clearly state Vietnam Campaign Medal. He had an Agent Orange specialist with the VA diagnose him with heart disease and was placed on the Agent Orange registry. Another doctor diagnosed him with PTSD. So imagine his surprise when the VA denied his claim, not once, but twice over a 2-year period, saying there was no proof of PTSD, no proof he was exposed to Agent Orange, and because he was originally stationed in Thailand, they said there was no proof he was ever even in Vietnam.
It's just like you're a liar,
Kenneth's wife, Judy, says the motto of veterans fighting the VA for benefits is this:
deny, deny, deny till they die.
Channel 4 News is working for you.
There is drama inside the courtroom and behind the scenes in the Holly Bobo case. The judge says the case is moving too slow and there are major cracks showing between prosecutors and investigators. Channel 4's Dennis Ferrier has an exclusive interview with District Attorney Matt Stowe about how this so-called sideshow all started. Dennis, it sounds like there was a pretty contentious meeting behind the scenes.
You know, absolutely. You used the word blow-up, argument, yelling between TBI Director Mark Gwynn and District Attorney Matt Stowe. And it was about and only about the Holly Bobo case. But it's now spilled out to affect everything from identity theft to meth manufacturing in 5 counties. How in the world does it come to this? Tonight, we hear from one of the men in that epic argument. DA Matt Stowe says he can't believe he is actually discussing this. But how in the world did a private argument about an important and sensitive murder case end up being a public story? And even worse, how did an argument lead to the TBI pulling out of every case in all 5 counties?
There was a meeting on Friday, and Director Gwynn and I had a heated exchange at that meeting. It was quite heated. There's no question about that. But at no point did I kick the TBI out of the 24th Judicial District.
But in a letter obtained by Channel 4, Director Mark Gwynn wrote DA Stowe, quote, "It is in the best interest of the integrity of TBI to honor your original request to no longer provide services to the 24th Judicial District," unquote.
And if I could say one thing to Director Gwynn right now, I would say, please do not bring the people of the state of Tennessee into a personal dispute between you and I.
Well, tonight a California college has removed one of the men charged in the Vanderbilt rape case from its football team.
The decision comes after the Channel 4 I-Team started asking questions about whether he should be allowed to play. The I-Team's Kimberly Kurth has been following this story from the very beginning. She joins us now with exclusive new developments. Kimberly.
Tonight, we have learned that Butte College in California has kicked Vanderbilt rape suspect Brandon Banks off their football team. The Channel 4 I-Team had just uncovered that Banks was on their 2014 roster, but tonight the school's president says he has been removed and she is ordering an immediate review of athletic enrollment policies. This is a picture of Brandon Banks from Saturday, back in the game and playing football for Butte College in California. That is, until the Channel 4 I-Team started asking questions. Banks is one of 4 former Vanderbilt football players accused of raping an unconscious woman in a campus dorm room last summer. But despite facing 5 counts of aggravated rape, the Channel 4 I-Team uncovered Banks was on the 2014 roster for Butte, playing as number 29. Here's what the school's director of student affairs had to say about Banks just yesterday.
This particular student had been accused of sexual assault. And the question was, is there any basis for us not admitting him to Butte College? And the answer is no.
But since that interview, Renville says the school has heard backlash from the community and they've had a change of heart. Butte's president said Banks would be, quote, removed from the football team effective immediately for violating its student-athlete code of conduct.
Are you selling people bogus tickets?
Just hours ago, 6 arrest warrants went out for the woman you're seeing here, and you're about to learn why. Good evening and welcome to Channel 4 News at 6. Police say that woman is running a scam.
Yeah, just last week she thought she was selling tickets to another customer. Instead, the Channel 4 I-Team was waiting for her.
I'm Jeremy. Angela, nice to meet you.
It's Wednesday, April 30th, and Angela Formica is ready to sell her latest customer some tickets.
These are actual tickets?
She just didn't realize who she was talking to or who the Channel 4 I-Team's been talking to.
We were both just devastated.
You see, Sam and Diane Wadsworth of Mount Juliet and Maggie Combs and Braden Strauss of Nashville both bought more than $500 worth of tickets from Formica through Craigslist. They met Formica outside the Ryman, paid cash, and got excited to see the only Nashville concert on the George Strait Farewell Tour. But when they showed up at Bridgestone Arena, they were told their tickets were no good.
These are actual tickets.
So Maggie Combs worked with the Channel 4 I-Team to go once more on Craigslist and arrange a sale with Formica to buy One Direction tickets, All Formica knew is she was meeting some 40-year-old guy named Jeremy, who apparently was a big fan of One Direction.
How much do you want for these?
$530 for both of them.
For $530, I was told all I had to do was show up. My tickets would be scanned, and I could see One Direction in all their glory. But we knew what happened to all these people.
These don't look like actual tickets, they look like copies.
Well, they are the actual tickets. Yeah, these are the tickets.
At that point, it was time to come clean.
My name is Jeremy. I'm Jeremy Finley, and I'm with Channel 4's investigative unit. And we've been approached by a number of people that told us that you've been selling them bogus tickets.
Yeah.
I need to ask you about that.
Okay. Well, I gotta go.
These people are out of a lot of money. Are these bogus tickets?
No, they're not.
Well, what about the other tickets that the people say that you sold them that were bogus?
I mean, I don't know what to say.
Channel 4 News is working for you.
World War II, the Battle of the Bulge. The 101st Airborne Division steps in to protect the city of Bastogne, Belgium from German attacks. As a symbol of their gratitude, the people of the city present a bulldog to the 101st, to be named Bastogne. A tradition that continues to this day. With the passing of each Bastogne, the Belgian city gives another bulldog to Fort Campbell to serve as mascot, an enduring symbol of strength and loyalty.
Ladies and gentlemen of Fort Campbell, you, my friends, are listening to Rendezvous Radio. Absolutely.
But today at Fort Campbell,
he's Tommy. He's an 8-year-old German Shepherd.
Private First Class Zachary Pilarczyk says a dog's bond to a soldier has evolved into that of friend and protector.
We have some intelligence that's possibly being used to store bomb-making material or any explosive devices. Confirmed intelligence that we have.
Training is underway, where 30 minutes ago C4 and nitro dynamite were hidden in a large warehouse of hundreds of hiding places. The explosive materials hidden here on this shelf and among these plastic wrapped boxes. Pilarczyk and Tommy are brought in and the clock started.
So basically he'll work on his own, but I just gotta come in, kind of detail the area, which means just throw in productive areas where I think there could be something. Hey, boss.
This training happens 5 times a week. Keeping above a 95% proficiency is crucial.
Private George Winus, Private R. Tomlinson, Private George Dancy.
You have heard the names of fallen soldiers spoken out loud at ceremonies, but these names are being said out loud for the first time in 151 years. 17 Confederate soldiers died on this hill in downtown Dover. They were buried in an unknown mass grave.
Sergeant James Lyle.
Local historian Dan Griggs used metal detectors, dowsing rods, and probes and discovered these men in 2007. It took another 7 years searching the country for documents to identify those who died.
It went on for 7 years, and it finally came. And I always figure that God takes care of those who are worthy.
Now this, 151 years later.
In Dixieland.
Civil War singers.
Ready, aim, fire.
Reenactors, widows, and just townsfolk, all saying, you all mattered. Thank you for your service. The war is over. We recognize your sacrifice.
The big picture sees that there were Americans North and Americans South who, for many various reasons, could not settle their problems peaceably. They resorted to war. They laid more than 600,000 of themselves in graves like this one here today. But they were Americans.
I always say if you believe in ghosts, this is where they would be. If you think about why spirits remain behind. Lives cut short often, and sometimes they just don't know they're dead.
Things go bump in the night, there's no doubt about that. When you consider what happens inside this house, on the property surrounding this house, I can't imagine anything more terrifying.
The Lotz House of Franklin was once a home to a German immigrant family searching for a simple life in the antebellum South, but instead found themselves in the middle of the Civil War. But according to some, something from a bygone era remains in the house and on those mist-covered battlefields 150 years after the Battle of Franklin.
Heart, soul, ground zero of the battle. It's the bloodiest 5 hours of the American Civil War.
Channel 4 News is working for you.
Severe weather can happen any time of the year in Middle Tennessee. And when storms come, we want you to be ready. That's why Channel 4's Forewarned Weather Team hits the road every spring and fall to keep you safe. We call it our Forewarned Weather Alert Tour. We meet folks, answer questions, and share what they need to know to stay safe in potentially deadly storms. Our latest tour wrapped up a few weeks ago at the Crockett Theater in Lawrenceburg. We brought our cameras along to show you what the tour is all about.
Welcome to our Forewarned Weather Alert Tour. It is so great to see all of you tonight. The pictures that you saw there in our video, that's the reason why we're here tonight.
I'm going to do a little experiment here, just a little demonstration. It's very basic, and you could do this at home if you have a hair dryer and a ping pong ball. Thunderstorms are powered by rising air. So we have a make-believe thunderstorm, this hair dryer, and when I turn it on and hold it vertically, it shoots air upward. And so we have a make-believe piece of hail, this ping pong ball, and we drop it in the make-believe updraft, and it just hangs there all day. So this is how hail forms. This is how something that big can float in a thunderstorm, getting circulated around for a couple of hours, and then the thunderstorm weakens and the hail falls to the ground, hopefully not in your yard if it's that big.
Well, at Channel 4, we believe in healthy living, and we're sharing that commitment with you all weekend long with our free Healthy for Life Expo.
It was about fitness, it was about healthy eating, and it was about having fun. We had some great activities just like this one for the whole family, and day 2 is going to be even better. Today's expo had a little bit of everything, from cooking demonstrations, you can bake them crispy, to fitness activities like the rock wall. We even had live music. It was about giving you an opportunity to learn about making healthy choices, and for many, it was a family affair.
I got some grandchildren, so I want to make sure I'm around for a long time.
So Ron brought the whole family to the Music City Center, and today's focus was health.
Just trying to get healthy, and I watch some of the shows that talks about that, and so I want to change my lifestyle.
And of course, we were all there to say hi and take a few pictures. Even Snowbird got in on the action. We have lots more in store starting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. The doors are going to open 10 to 5 on Sunday. And don't forget about free parking. We're running the shuttle again from LP Field. That's over at the Shelby Street pedestrian bridge. That runs at 9:30 Sunday morning. We'll pick you up, take you back all the way till 5:30. We hope you can join us.